episode of Rewiring Health. I am so excited to be joined by Kisha Woods, and we're going to jump right into it because we have a lot to talk about today.
Absolutely.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I followed what you've done on social media and we've talked before, and I love what you do. So I'm really excited to get right into this and kind of share it with my audience. So do you mind just starting with your story? Like, what brought you to where you are today and what's inspired you along this journey?
My own mental well-being is kind of my main focus as to why I'm walking in my journey now. I led a life of suppression. If I want to really sum it up, people pleasing, suppression, just not looking out for me. I lived with the mindset before of, oh, if I get, I'll get my blessings by making sure everybody else is good, and not pouring that into myself. So, 2020 was kind of a breaking point with me. We were hitting crisis status, with society, but I was also hitting it inner as well. And I began a transformation with a lot of accountability for myself and really just trying to figure out what I wanted for myself at this point. And that began a journey that I wouldn't think that I'd be here today. Just doing what it is that I do, and just really gaining my own clarity because I wasn't clear on a lot of things in life. So that started a continuing journey because I'm always open for learning, but it began a hell of a shift, and I'm just super glad to be here right now. It really, some eye-opening things go on and some things that we don't like to talk about, but these are things that I'm very transparent in with now, with just as far as our mental awareness overall, I'm very transparent with that now. So, and I didn't used to be, so.
Yeah. And thank you for being so, because I think being so candid and open about things really allows others to heal through that process.
Absolutely.
So I think it's so important that we have these conversations about life is messy and we have to kind of work through it.
I'm telling
you, it's so inspiring to hear. And like, I can totally relate to what you're saying, those mindset shifts where you feel like you're in a place where you're not helping yourself. You're kind of stuck, or even worse, you feel like you're going backwards. And then you kind of hit that point where you're like, I can't live like this anymore.
Right.
And then you move forward in that. So I really love that, because it really is so inspiring that, if you're in a place where you're not happy right now, you can always change that.
At any given point, and we're fearful, right? We're fearful of change. We don't really know what's on the other side, especially when we're what I call unlearning and reconditioning, because that's really what we're doing. We've set aside all of our lives living it this particular way. So when we want to shift that, it's not as easy as one would think. It can be categorized as an addiction, so to speak, because you're really like trying to learn new things about yourself your whole life. And, that's hard. I say life be life, and I'll be saying that I'm gonna stick with that. It's definitely life be life, and life continues to life even when you begin that journey. But it's so important to begin. It's so important to begin that journey.
That's it. I'm sure your current self is very happy that you started in 2020 and not 2022 or not yet.
Yes, because it's just allowed me to be so open-minded to everything. Things where I would not even have considered before. I'm like, let me take a look. Let me see what's going on. Let me listen. Let me research it. Whereas before I'd be like, even as far as like my food palette, right? There were so many things that my restricted self used to say, I'm not eating that. I'm never going to eat that. And now I eat it regularly, so it's just the power of a reconditioned mind. I'm so grateful to have began that journey and just kind of hit that low, because that mental low was kind of the breaking point for me. And I don't like to say it like this, but the pandemic really was not a bad thing for me, because it actually was a part of my shift. So I personally can't say that anything bad happened to me. Everything great happened for me, because it was like a kickstart for me,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's some of those times that are the hardest where when we're in them, they're really, really tough, but it becomes that catalyst to make you realize that you can't live like this anymore. And
absolutely.
And it is like that, the pandemic was awful for so many people. But in some ways it was a blessing in disguise for many people, because it allowed us to slow down and realize that our life was not what we wanted it to be. And we could reassess and reposition ourselves to be in a better place.
Indeed.
So I think that's
Indeed.
wonderful. I know you talked about you used to be very much like a people pleaser and kind of live for other people. Can you talk on your mindset shift of what else changed from then to now?
I still love to help people. And that's
Mhm.
really what made me step into the journey of becoming first a life coach, shifting into a mindset transformational coach, entrepreneurial startup helper. My open mind allowed me to like expand in so many areas. But the biggest thing with that was understanding that I was first,
Mhm.
always. No matter what I do, no matter who I serve, how I help, I've always got to make sure that it is in alignment with me
Mhm.
first. I am my number one priority. That is one of my biggest affirmations daily. I am my number one priority. I will remain my number one priority. And when you hear that, people automatically assume like, well, she must have got kids and she must have got this. Well, I am an empty nester. My children are grown. However, that's not what I mean. We can still be mothers, wives, daughters, things like that, but just self-prioritizing ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's really kind of where I have gone into the specialization with my coaching business is self-prioritization, because we do not put ourselves first. We believe that if we're pouring into everybody else, then that's our way of, being okay. But in all actuality, how are you pouring from that empty cup?
Mhm.
How are you giving to them? You're frustrated. You're laying across your bed crying at night because you don't have anything for you, when the day is done. As a mother, I raised 3 boys. I get it, but if I had the self-prioritization that I have now, things would have been different with them, because I spoke a lot to them out of frustration,
Mhm.
thinking that it was parenting, but it was really frustration about me and that I was lacking in my own life.
Mhm.
So I shifted that, and that has like really just opened up so many doors and opportunities for me, because I'm still doing what I love, and that's serving and helping. But I also am unapologetic about saying, you know what? Not today. Not today. I'm an advocate for no, and I stand on my nose, and I didn't used to be that way. So that's probably one of the biggest things, probably the main thing that I could say has just been so transformational for me, is being able to say no and not feel some kind of way about it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much strength in having or giving yourself permission to say no. And one thing that really resonated with what you're saying, it's like this quote that I always stick with is you get more of what you tolerate.
Come
So if
on.
you're willing to say yes to everything and you're kind of wishy-washy and you allow people to drain your energy and things to drain your energy, you're just going to get more of that in life. So
Yeah,
by embracing your own self evolution, you
man.
start attracting things that are going to give you more life and give you more
Yes,
energy. And
absolutely.
that's the whole shift. Cause I think sometimes people think, well, I have to give and give and give, and then it'll come back to me. Well, it just never
Mhm.
comes back because
It
you're, like you
doesn't.
said, you're drained.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because that's not the correct way to do things, but that's
Mhm.
because, society has put that in our head, that that's what we're supposed to do, is always pour into others, and we'll get our blessings, back from that. But I want my blessings from myself too.
Mhm.
And if I'm not giving that to myself, I'm not giving fully to other people. That actually has, put me in as a full-time entrepreneur, shifting my way of thinking. I have shifted into full-time entrepreneurship. And in 2019, you could have never told me that that's what I'd be doing. I was in corporate America and still in corporate America until they let me go. And that was like, you know what? I'm already on this journey. So I'm gonna keep stepping out on my faith, and I'm gonna stay a full-time entrepreneur. And that was what I've done. This year will be 3 years for that. So, just the power of shifting that thinking process and saying, I can still help other people. I can
Mhm.
still be that person,
Yeah.
but I'm first. So on a
Yeah.
Monday, if I decide that I don't want to do anything, I don't want to get up, I don't want to do anything, I'm okay with doing that. Nobody's going to call me and be like, oh, well, Kisha, you said that you were going to do this. If I said it, I also don't have a problem with saying, you know what, I can't, things are, because again, my self-prioritization is day to day as well. A lot of times, because we feel like we have committed, I get it from one standpoint, but if my mental well-being ain't there, I have programmed myself to say, you know what? It's time to recharge. It's time to rejuvenate, refocus, realign, whatever it is that I need to do. I will do it unapologetically.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I really do feel like life gives you those nudges. Like you talk about your job, like that becomes a nudge. Like you
It
were
was.
meant for bigger things, you know,
Yeah.
like you were meant to serve more people than probably what you were serving back then. It's like those things that don't seem good at the time end up being,
Yes.
again, just those blessings where like, oh, this resonates with me. And I would imagine you probably feel like, I feel good about this. There's just
Oh,
like
I
there's
feel
a,
lovely about it.
yeah, there's
Ooh,
an
lovely.
energy that you get.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a dope energy. And
Mhm.
it's also to the point where I say thank you to them, because if they
Mhm.
didn't do that,
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't be where I was at, where I'm at now, because I would have still been comfortable with a lot of things. I would have still been stagnant. I probably still wouldn't have thought that I was supposed to be a full-time entrepreneur. Because I had already started the business, but it was part-time. I had like one or two clients and was like doing mentorship and stuff like that. But that was the boost that I needed. That was the faith kicker right there. Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
And I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped at all. So I'm loving it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like a lot of times we move in fear, but the thing is like the future is unknown either way. So you have a choice. You can either move towards the future in fear or you can move towards the future in faith. And again,
Exactly.
you always have that choice. And
You do.
regardless, so that's like the beauty of it is like always ask yourself, for anyone listening, like, are you moving in fear or are you moving in faith? And in your case, you moved in faith and look at the
Uh,
beautiful gift it gave
it
you.
was. It was a
That's
beautiful gift.
amazing.
So I just love it. I get like goosebumps every time I like have conversation about it,
Mhm.
because these are the stories that you hear about on the news, and that you read
Mhm.
about on social media, but it's actually a story
Yeah.
that I'm living. So I'm definitely just so grateful for it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it is just so inspiring to see people like that's why I always love talking to people and hearing what their stories because like
Mhm.
where did you come from and where are you now? Because
Yeah,
there are times like you can't even think in your wildest dreams you'd be doing something and then there you are doing it. And
that part.
it's it's like, there really is like there's an energy that I believe that is pushing you in the direction that is authentically you and what you were designed to be and
Yes.
who you are and what you're doing. So I just
Yes.
love that. One
Thank you.
thing that in your profile you talked about, and I just want you to kind of talk on this because I just love it, the unity and support for all women and like the
Oh
just
yeah.
the camaraderie. And I just love that because I think especially as women, we need to support each other. We understand each other
Absolutely.
in a very like real way. And I think sometimes there's divisions, especially with women, where we compete against each other and it doesn't serve us. So can you
Yeah.
talk how you've promoted that atmosphere of unity?
Yes, I first of all, I anytime that I can be in a group of women that are just wanting to like listen, learn, and get feedback from each other, I'm all for that. That gets me so excited. I have like groups that I host weekly, that I am coming in as a facilitator, and we have like real in-depth conversations. These are virtual. I have my mindset motivation workshops, which I do in person and virtual, because I want to give that opportunity to all women, because all of us did not have and have not had the environments to be around to say, this is the type of thing that I really want to do, because we're used to being in that stagnating environment, that negative, that toxic environment. That's what we're used to. We have that sense of loyalty that where we have to stay around those type of situations because of maybe who people are, or stuff like that. I no longer want to be around those things, but I want to show other women that it's not too late for us to elevate. I'm well into my 40s right now, so it wasn't too late for me. And I want to be able to show others that it's not too late for them. And I want to make it easier for them. Upgraded Mindsets is based off of making it easier for women to make the shifts that they need to make for a more empowering version of themselves. So I'm going to do whatever I have to do, provide resources, from some content creation to ebooks, whatever it is to draw that unity, where I'm talking on my podcast or just anything that's offering that insight. I want to be able to have someone that's maybe just sitting there, just down, listen to the podcast in real life, get that inspiration and be like, you know what? I heard her, and that gave me some insight. Become open-minded. I know that we have that sense of people that we know the longest, are our closest, allies and stuff. And I'm not going to say that that might not always be the case, but be open to receive more than what you already know.
Mhm.
That's another shift that I had to make, is getting uncomfortable with speaking to somebody new, aligning with those that are like-minded with regards to me, my purpose, my journey, like you, social media wise, and, just all of those things, beginning to align and attract myself to that. Because once I started receiving that, I was getting that right back. So my mission is to show others that that's how that works. If you pour into like-minded on a positive level, just like you do on a toxic level, you're going to get that positive feedback right back. And that's my mission, to just show us that we do it all the time with the negative stuff. So let's just shift it and turn it into the positive and pour positive into each other. So that's, pretty much my mission behind that, is to pour that positive and show us that it's not too late to elevate.
Yes, so much gold there. Oh my gosh, I love that. And the saying, it's not too late to elevate. I love that. I haven't heard that before. And I just love that. I feel like I'm gonna write that down.
Hey,
Beautiful.
Yes.
Because I think we get stuck in this rut. We're like, well, I'm in my 40s. What am I going to do now? Or I'm so far in my career. What am I going to do now? Or like, been living with pain for so long. What am I going to do now? And it's like very easy to come up with those excuses. But if you can realize like you have more potential than that, and that you can always do this, and just takes those little steps that compound, it's gold. It's so big.
So
it is. Yeah. For somebody listening who's saying, okay, it sounds great for them, but not for me. What, like, I can't do this. What do you say to those people that have a lot of self-doubt around their ability to evolve and grow as, as souls and spirits and people?
It all begins with what we think, right? And I do get it, because sometimes we just don't think that we have the capability, and we do. A lot of us tend to want to have huge results overnight. And I think that's sometimes where we come across with the problem of just falling back into our comfort zone, because we have that huge expectation out the gate. So my recommendation on that is to always start small. You are reconditioning your life. You are realigning things into your values that you may not have followed for the past 10 years. That is going to take some time. That is a journey all by itself. So my thing is always, and I know we hear this often, is to begin writing these things down. Write the pros about yourself, write the cons about yourself. You've got these cons, be accountable and be honest with yourself. This is, I tell my clients, this is a popular practice that I use with my clients, and that is to write an open letter to yourself, right? And I mean open, all things on the table. No one is never going to see this letter if you don't want them to see this letter. This letter is for you and only you. But putting that down is going to give a level of accountability for you, that you're like, I know I want to work on this. I know I want to work on this, and start small. It does not have to be big changes out the gate, because those small changes are going to lead to the big ones. But don't cheat yourself by not starting at all. I don't care if you take 5 minutes out of a day. Take that 5 minutes and make it an intentional 5 minutes on working towards your growth. Next week, 10 minutes, next week, 30 minutes, grow into that. You are shifting and reconditioning and realigning and building new habits for yourself. It's going to be a process. So I just want you to be patient with yourself, but be intentional and stay intentional with yourself.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, the big thing is compounding habits, and like you said, starting small and allowing it to grow. And because it's so true. A lot of people feel like I don't want to overhaul my life. I don't need a second job. And it doesn't have to be like that. You just have to do one little thing different. And then momentum follows action. Like the minute you start taking action, you get this momentum about it. And you're like, I like this so much. I don't want, Yep. You just want to keep going with it, which is that's the thing. It's just that small little step forward, and then you keep just going. And it's
continual, because when you see the small success of like, I did this was done, you're going to want to keep doing that. You're going to want to keep feeling that feeling, just like you were feeling those, negative feelings because it was a part of your default mode. When you get in intentional mode, you're going to see the successes, and you're going to want to still keep feeling that, it's going to be a new type of dopamine fix for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just important to be intentional with that. Another thing I'd say, your first 30 minutes of your day decides your whole 24 hours. I actually had an original ebook that's like for, your first 15 minutes to have a bomb 24-hour day, because that matters. If you wake up and the first thing you do is grabbing your phone and you're looking at, the news or, what's going on social media, the toxic things and stuff like that, you setting the tone for your entire day. So just be a little more mindful of what it is that you look at, what it is that you think about when you first wake up. Our mind's the most active when we first awake. So if your mind's on fire, take advantage of that. Because I'm up working at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, because I know that this mind is on fire at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Now I'm probably asleep by 9 o'clock tonight too, but I take advantage of the fact that my mind is overactive in the morning times. I use that in the positive letter instead of letting it be a negative, frustrated, and all that self-doubt and stuff kicking in as soon as I wake up.
Yeah. There's so many things you said. First of all, I mean, just having the awareness of what works for you is so important.
Yes.
And then also you're talking about, all the things before, like bringing awareness to what is working for you and what's not. And really is like things stop growing once you bring awareness to them. So if you have some of these traits that, you perceive as negative, it's like, they're going to stop growing in that. So it's so important to bring awareness to that. But, as far as continuing to like grow and become a different version of yourself, how important is environment? Like the people you surround yourself with, your actual environment, how big is that for you and the people that you help?
This is probably going to be a little uncomfortable for some folks, because it was uncomfortable for me, but you've got to change it. There's just no sitting on the fence with that. That was probably one of the harshest realities that I had to endure. I've lost people that I've been around for years. We no longer speak. We are no longer aligned. And I had to be okay with that. So it really is some sacrifices that have to be made. But you've got to look at what sacrifices are more important than, or not as important as you actually growing and becoming a more mentally healthy version of yourself. We know that environments can be a negative influence. If you're around negativity, that's what you're going to give. That's what you're going to get. You can't be around negative and then expect positive results. We know that that's an age-old saying, but environments matter. There are, like I said, people that I'm no longer affiliated with, things that I no longer do. But I had to replace those habits. And I've done that, with things that are towards growth, towards empowering myself, towards empowering others. But those uncomfortable conversations maybe need to be had with people. Listen, this is where I'm going in my life. I know that you guys are used to this from me so much, but I'm ready to change that. And if those people are not saying, you know what, I'm gonna work on some changes with you as well, or I support you in everything that you got going on, I'm going to tell you right now, those are not your people. You're not going to be able to change them. You're not going to be able to influence them to be that supportive person for you. We get stuck in ourselves and our own struggles because we're trying to bring others with us or trying to make them support us. And that is one of the reasons one of my clientele, probably 90% of my clientele has endured that. They don't have the support from those that they want the support from, So my thing is with that is be ready. That's another level of getting uncomfortable, is to be receptive and be accountable and say, hey, I can't wait on them. I can't wait on them to support me. I'm going to go out and find my support system. Because I've done that. I have several different areas of tribes. I have clients, that are no longer clients that still support. I have coaches that we meet every week and we are our biggest support system. I have a tribe here locally that we throw ideas off of each other all the time. I have business partners that we're aligned to so much. I had to build that. It wasn't just something that got thrown to me. I had to build that. So we've got to just be ready to make those sacrifices to build what it is that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's like when your vision is strong enough, you automatically kind of move in that direction, but it doesn't mean that there aren't pains along the way.
Exactly. It's going to be routes. It's going to be reroutes, detours.
Yes.
You're going to think that this person might have been the best for you and they may not have. We take those lessons and we continue to move forward.
Yeah.
That's a part of finding our tribe. Your tribe, again, is not going to just fall. So it's a part of finding that. And you might go through 3 people before you find that one, but be okay with that. but that's also involving you being self-aware of the things that might trigger a negative reaction from you with that, because that might not be your tribe. So you've also got to make sure that you're staying mindful of yourself as well during that process.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm actually reading a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it
Mm,
talks about that. Like when you have like a friend or somebody in your life that you always were negative with, like you always complain or, just talk about everything that's going wrong in your life, you kind of vibrate at a different energy. So
yes.
you work with them. But the minute you decide to elevate yourself to a different energy level, now all of a sudden it doesn't resonate with them. And
Mm,
so that's where you have that clashing. And now you start raising up and now you have to find your new, like you said,
yeah.
tribe of people who do resonate at your elevated energy level. And
So
it may seem at the time like it's like, oh geez, I'm losing all my friends. But
yeah.
honestly, they were only holding you back and they served you for the purpose in that season of your life, not for this season of your life.
Absolutely. You need to
Yeah,
make sure you tell me the name of that book, because
I
that book
will.
has
Yes.
so
Yeah.
much for me.
I'm halfway done and I've loved every minute of it. So yeah, I'll share.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's good.
Breaking the Habit of Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes,
very
yes. Ooh,
good.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing? Because I love, like, again, when we hear things like people who make these huge transformations in life, it's just so inspiring for people. Do you mind just sharing like a story of success in someone that you've worked with
Oh, yeah.
that maybe they were in like a really tough space and now they're like crushing it?
Yeah, I have a client. She's actually still a client. We've been working together since December of 2021.
Mhm.
She literally, a little backstory behind it is when we were growing up, she's a local client. When we were growing up, we were on like opposite ends of the field. Because like I was like a fighter back in the day. I don't, like I said, I'm very transparent in my story. So, I was like a rough teen, and we were on opposite sides of the fence. And
Mhm.
we literally were like fighting by association. She literally reached out to me and was like, I need your help. I need to talk to you. She heard my podcast and she reached out to me. And when I tell you, she began her journey so negatively cluttered with just so much stuff, so much baggage, so much everything. And I look at her today, and every week she's got a new idea, because not only has she gotten some personal clarity about herself, she now has established her business. She has, created a business, something she knew she wanted, but she just had no idea how to get there. And we got her personal clarity established, because one thing is I'll throw in here is, if your personal clarity is not established, you will not gain on an entrepreneur or professional level. You've got to have that personal clarity first, because you've got to make sure what it is that you're seeking is aligning with your purpose in
Mhm.
life, just in general. So she's getting that personal clarity. So now she knew what she wanted to do with her business. We have launched her business. She has hosted events, and she is continuing to thrive. She literally sent me a message this morning, like, what about this idea? This is the next thing I want to do. She just is so open and throwing things out there. But because of the tools that we've implemented, she's able to get that clarity and say, this is what I want to do, and be unapologetic in doing it.
Mhm.
Because we can have the ideas all day, but the follow through has to be just as strong as the idea when it comes into your head.
Mhm.
So I just watch her every week. Like, we meet every week, and every week I just see the growth in her, in just our conversations. Her environment as well. She knows that her environment had to shift, and she's in the process of doing that, right now. So all of that is just so amazing to me, because I feel her, she feels me, and I love that she is really becoming truly unapologetic in her journey. And that's the overall goal for me, is to just have you living an unapologetic, empowering life.
Mhm. I love that. And especially the transformation of your relationship with her. And then to where it is
Yes.
now, like, I mean, there's so many levels to that, like her
Yeah.
transformation and both of your transformation.
That
Like,
was just want to say,
that's
because me too.
amazing.
Exactly. Like, so,
Yeah.
those things are just, I just love my life right now. I just truly
Yeah.
do, love where I am, and truly where I see myself going. Because I already know I've gotten like 5-year plan, 10-year,
Yeah.
20, all those goals are out there. And I just really love where things are taking me. So,
Yeah, I love that. And the biggest thing is that, I'm a firm believer that you're best suited to serve the old version of yourself
period.
because you know exactly what it was like.
Period. You are so
So,
right, Kelly. That's how,
yeah.
and that's why I created it. I wanted
Mhm.
to give back in that way. I wanted to
Yeah.
do just that. So you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I truly believe in life, that's what we're designed to do. We're designed to like serve people and guide people in, pull them up to your level, and then the people above you are pulling you up to their level. Like you're supposed to pull people and
Continue to pull.
encourage them to move forward in their life. And it's like all these stepwise pieces. It's like, as you grow, you're going to help a different crowd to grow up to that level. And it's
Yes.
just like this beautiful process that life can be when you start to see it with more clarity. So
Hmm.
it's just amazing. I love
It's so
it.
amazing. I do too. I really do.
Yeah. For someone who wants like is listening to this or like, I want to work with her, where can they find you? And if you can talk about your podcast and your new
Yeah.
book that you have out. So feel free to
Yes.
talk about all that.
Absolutely. So the book is actually it's sitting right there, you guys. So it's
Mhm.
called From Havoc to Healing, 30 Days of Reconditioning. This is literally 30 days of my entire mind of April of 2020. This is the beginning, the journal that I started, and I literally turned it into my first book because it is so many things going through my mind as I'm starting the transformation. I
Mhm.
wasn't in transformation mode yet. I'm starting it in this book. And I'm also putting like some of the tools and resources that I use to help me begin that shift. So From Havoc to Healing is available on Amazon, on Kindle, and it's also available at barnesandnoble.com. The Empowering Real Talk podcast, which is available on YouTube, and it's also on your favorite streaming platforms such as Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, things like that. Just Google the Empowering Real Talk podcast. But to find me, to work with me, you can go to www.upgradedmindsets.life. It's pretty much going to show you everything about me. It's going to show you the programs I have to offer, the Power of Me, which is for the non-entrepreneurial woman, Empower the Brand, which is for the entrepreneurial or potential entrepreneurial woman. Those packages are available for you to work with me exclusively, for me to give you some reconditioning methods to help you build that unapologetic confidence to move forward in what it is that you want in life, personally and professionally. And then, like I said, I'm pretty much just kind of everywhere on all social media at Coach KAYWDS. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm really not on Twitter like that, but I'm gonna get back there, but I ain't there yet. But base place you can find me is at upgradedmindsets.life. That'll pretty much take you anywhere you need to go when it comes to me. So I'm just definitely out here doing what I do.
I love it. And I'll have all that in the show notes for anyone who is, can see the show notes that we can connect with Kisha here. And thank you so much. This has been, I just love this conversation, and
Me
thank you
too.
for all your insight, sharing all your candid life moments and your transformation.
I appreciate you so much for having me. I appreciate you. I love you so much. I love you. I'll be like, come
Right back at you.
on.
Oh, I know.
But
I love that we've connected. And it is,
I do
again,
too.
it's just a testament like to when you are building yourself up, you connect to amazing
Yes,
people. So
you are
I just
so
love
right
this.
about it. And I'm so glad.
Mhm.
I appreciate you again for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you again. And for everyone listening, please subscribe to the podcast, share any questions, reviews you have. And thank you again for spending your precious time with me.
Thanks, guys.